All right. We are live. Welcome, folks. How's it going? Will from Leet Creative here, and this is a first of its kind that I'm going to start trying to do today, or at least every 2 weeks. I'm going to try and do this bi-weekly, where I come on live and I just talk about a simple project or a simple subject very briefly. And the purpose of it is just to mainly get some of these frequently asked questions around video marketing very quickly out there. So that way, a lot of people can understand what stuff is supposed to do and how stuff works and how they should move forward and stuff like that. Because, there's a lot of different opinions and there's a lot of different resources and things that you can find online. But sometimes, you can just hear from a professional. It's always great to hear from a professional, someone who has done it for years. So I'm gonna come on here. We are live on Facebook. I try to go live on LinkedIn and YouTube at the same time, but guess what? When I tried to get on it and get it connected, it wasn't working very well. So yeah, we're just gonna go live on Facebook for now. I'll try and figure out the logistics and all the tech stuff behind it of why it's not going live for me on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So, but this is what we're gonna do for Facebook for today. We're gonna talk about this few things here. Let me just let me get this right here. Make sure. And bam. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. I think it's this one. There we go. All right. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the subject, which is the most important. The subject, the lighting, or the audio. And this was a question that I saw in a forum that I'm in, and they asked this question, which is the most important. And there were a lot of mixed, very mixed opinions on it, on which people thought was the most important. And there really is just one answer to it. And I'll tell you what the answer is very soon. And then later after that, I'll tell you which one I mostly try to focus on, and which one you should be focusing on. But I'll tell you, a lot of people will say it depends too. And I'll agree, it depends on the kind of video, really. But there is one, or not one, but we'll see when we get a little bit closer very soon. But let's talk about these, right? The subjects, the lighting, and the audio. So with the subjects, what we are looking at here. Oh, by the way, too, I'm trying this new tech. I had this is a tablet that I've had for a while. It's a very small tablet. I have a bigger one, but this one just works in my space better because I like to keep my space a little minimal. Um, and so if this doesn't work as I'm expecting it to work, like properly in terms of writing on the whiteboard, excuse the tech for a second. Okay, I'm still trying to figure some of the tech out. So we'll see how it works. Like I said, this is the first of its kind. We're gonna go from this. All right, let me see. Go here. Okay, so yeah, the subject. What is, let's, before we can figure out which one is the most important, let's try to understand what the functions are of these three elements, right? So we have the subject, which is, of course, we know what the subject is. It's your person that is presenting, or it could be the character, or it could be um, another character, or it could be a building, or it could be a product, or it could be anything, right? It could be the subject of the video or the subject of the shot, right? We know what that is. And now why you would want the subjects basically is to help carry the video forward or carry your story forward and move your story forward. That's why you have the elements of the subject. It could be a person. Let me also draw some other items here, so that way you understand that. And by the way, my drawing sucks. Once again, this is just on the tablets. It's not on an iPad, so the drawing might be a little bit iffy here. But let's say, for example, this is a bottle. This is a bottle. And this could be a subject too. Let's say it could be a building, or let's say it's a house. Your house is your subject. The house is a subject for all the real estate folks there. So a couple of these could be the subjects of what your video is, or it could be just the subject of a shot that you're trying to put in to help move your video forward or your story forward, right? So that is what this whole subject is about, right? And now, what about the lighting? Lighting, I've seen a lot of people talk about the lighting, saying the lighting is the most important too, which is fair for good reasons. Lighting, without the lighting, there's no video, right? There's no video. Your subject is not lit. It's very dark. We can't see what you're trying to show us, and we can't follow what you're trying to convey to us from your video, right? We can't follow it. So the lighting, in that case, can be important. So let me just draw a little like sun here, a little circle, and then a sun for lighting. Maybe a little light. Let me see. Do a little um, one of these lights here. Okay, so there we go. Oh, a little brightness there. There we go. So this, without the lighting, you can't see anything, and especially if you have bad lighting too. Let's say everything you have a lot of lights and you're using the sun or whatever. Sure, now we can see the subject, but things just get to look flat and very dull and very boring too, with bad lighting. But if you have good lighting, now everything looks very nice. Everything looks very pleasing to the eye. We are more drawn into your story because we see that this is something visually appealing, right? And especially with cinematic kind of lighting and so, right, it's more like you love you love watching movies, and when you see lighting that is done in the movie like way, with a very basic 3-point lighting, 2-point lighting, or like a reverse key lighting, some was one of those techniques, mixed together, is very pleasing. People are more drawn in, people can see what you're talking about, and they enjoy it. It's something also more shareable. And also with good lighting too comes with good branding, because then you're branding yourself as a professional, you're branding yourself as, this is what I'm capable of. Like, this is the amount of work and effort that I've put into this video to make it visually appealing for my audience. So, that is just the law of reciprocity or something like that. I forgot what you call it, but where your viewers are seeing the video, they like the video. It's very lit properly. It's very pleasing to the eye, and they see the effort put into it. So of course they would be advocate for that video. They'll be more inclined to share the video. And when they see that lighting, they'll be like, okay, this brand knows what you're talking about. This business knows what you're talking about. They know what they're doing too. They are professionals, or they got professionals too. But the video is great because it's visually appealing. They're more inclined to share it. They're more inclined to engage with it, like it, and do whatever else they want to do with the video, right? So that is the benefits of the lighting. That's the lighting part. And for audio, this is another important part too. This is where, with bad audio, things can get a little bit bad very quick, right? Especially in the few seconds. If you have a long video, if your video is very long, let's say about 10 minutes long, and you have bad audio, I'm telling you, no one is going to watch that video. No one is going to sit there for long to watch that video, unless maybe it's someone, maybe someone is desperate and whatever you're saying seems like it's going to be hitting the points that they need, right? Then they might bear with it. But for the most part, if it's really bad, scratchy audio and it's not clear what you're saying or what we can hear, a lot of people will leave the video and they will not keep watching that. And of course, they will not share it. They will not like it. Probably will not even comment. They might comment, hey, you got bad audio. You got to fix it. That's why audio is very important. So what can we do for audio? Let's see. Audio, we can just do like a little waveform kind of thing here. So, right, that is your audio. Audio is very important. And when you also have good audio too, right? We tend to associate good audio with good branding, just like lighting too. Like where you watch a movie, you're hearing everything completely well. You're hearing everything on the full spectrum. You can see everything clearly, and you can hear the whole environment. Everything just works together in like a full cohesive full cohesive video, right? Everything is just flowing very well. People would be more inclined to watch something like that with good audio, and we will relate that to good branding when you have good audio. And also, if you also have good voice too, I'm just saying, this is just side note, right? This is just a side note. If you have a good voice, like a deep voice, or you have like this radio-esque voice, even for females too, you have this very clear voice when you're speaking, a lot of people really like to hear that, right? So they might even come back to your video just to hear some good audio from whatever TikToks or Instagram reel bad audios that they've heard, and they might just like, yeah, I just gotta cleanse my palate and just hear something good. That does happen. That does happen. I'm also going to put music under this category too of audio, because I know when we talk about audio, we mainly talk about the dialogue, right? And that's the main focus. It could be the dialogue. Oh my God, my writing here is going to be terrible. It could be dialogue, or it could be the music. It could be the sound effects. Um, uh, okay. Could be the sound effects, and it could be the ambience too. It could be ambience. All of these are, let's just put in the category of audio, what we all hear from your video. Now, we've seen why all of these are important, right? And they're all important in their own way. Now, the argument is, which one is the most important, right? And here's what I'm going to say. It's very simple. Which one is the most important? It's all three. It really is all three. Let me go here real quick. All right. It's really all three of them are important. They all work together to make a very good quality video. That's what we want to have at the end of the day. We want to have a quality video. All of these work together to make that quality video. Let me just put a quality video here. And I'm getting so many notifications from Miro today. All right. So all of these all work together here to make a quality video. If you have one of these, now the quality of your video drops down. If you have two of these, the quality of your video drops down. But if you have three of them, now the quality of your video goes up. It works very well. Everything is flowing together and working together, right? And that's ultimately what we want to have. The quality of the video up. Now, the problem that we see nowadays, especially with how things are with social media and with Instagram and TikTok and all of that, is that everyone has a camera in their pockets, right? Your phone. So you have then you basically have audio setting, which is the audio on your camera or audio on your phone. Sorry. And then you have lighting. Let's say people pick it from the sun. You take your lighting from the sun, and you have the subject, of course, which is you, or which could be a property or your product or whatever the subject is, right? You have all of that now. So you might be thinking, I have all of that. So that means I have a quality video. But it goes much more deeper than that. It really does goes much more deeper than that. And I'll tell you the downfalls of using a phone to try and make a quality video. Now, don't get me wrong. The quality of videos from phones nowadays, or mobile filmmaking, as what they call it, especially with the new versions of iPhones and the new versions of the Androids and all of that, the video looks really, really, really good. Like, it looks really good. Even the audio, especially for the iPhone's quality, the audio is pretty good, pretty clear. But when you start to see the downfalls of all of these things is when you have something like harsh lighting, and now you don't know how to work with harsh lighting, right? So let me just go down here real quick, right? So let me draw a line here. Oh, goddamn. Okay, let's draw a line right here. So the downfalls is when you have your phone and you're like, okay, I have all these three things. I have my phone. I can use this, and I have a quality video. But if you don't know how to work around harsh sun, you start to fall into the realm of bad lighting. So let me just put harsh sun here, and let's just say that goes to bad lighting. Let me put this over here, actually. Uh, and okay, there we go. Okay, so when you cannot work with harsh lighting or harsh sun, you start to have bad lighting, right? Which that's one of the downfalls of that. Which, of course, in that sense of having bad lighting, you have bad branding, which will now give you bad branding now, because your lighting is not on par with the professionals and probably your other competitors too. So you now have bad branding. This is very weird to write on this tablet, by the way, and try to piece my pencil on the screen there. It is very weird, but I do like this. I do like this. My handwriting is not as bad as this, I promise. So, oh God, look at that. My lines are not even straight. But so this is the pitfalls when we go into this, right? So when we go into this realm of trying to use your video or trying to use your iPhone or your phone, because you think you have all the three elements that we just talked about, right? So then that's the result of that. People, we can go into the other results, like people start to not really trust the brand or not really engage much. You have less engagement because of this bad branding, bad lighting, and all of that. So what about audio, right? For audio, iPhone's quality audio is pretty good, or audio quality is pretty good, right? Especially if you're really close to it, right? Especially like this is how you want your audio to be. You want it very close to you, or your microphone. You want your microphone to be very close to you, and you're speaking to it like this, right? Like how I'm doing right now. And that's what will give you very clear audio, very good audio. But let's say now you're out and about in a busy walk place, or you're out and about walking and you're doing your video. And so especially if you're shooting some kind of video and there's an airplane going by or there's some construction nearby, your iPhone is going to pick that up. So now you're picking up unwanted audio sources. This is very, very weird to write on this. So now you're picking up unwanted audio sources, and we can't hear very clearly, or it basically becomes very distracting when we are watching that video, right? The video becomes very, very distracting. And what does that mean now when it's distracting? A lot of people will not pay attention to it, and they will relate it again to, oh, okay, you have bad branding, right? And we know the results from bad branding. You have less engagements. People leave the video early and they don't want to watch it anymore, and they probably will not want to come back to your video until maybe like a few months later, or a few years later, where they're like, maybe this person has learned their lesson to now get a good audio, right? So that is the problem there with that, right? So that's the problem. Another problem is, let's say with audio, um, we also put in music and sound effects in place of this, right? So in the audio category. So let's say you also have a bad choice of music, right? You have a bad choice. Let's say you have good sound coming through your phone, right? You have good sound coming through your phone. You're like this, but you have a bad choice of music, right? Your choice of music for your video does not work well. It's still the same. It comes back to this. Let's just say choice of music. Oh, that's not music. It comes back to this. It becomes distracting because your choice of music is distracting. And then now we come back to this again. You're back to that result again. So you can see how easy it is to just fall into pitfalls of quality video, of trying to make a quality video, right? When you think you have all three, and which one is the most important. We're just breaking these down. Yeah, I'm trying to also keep this for about an hour, so we have maybe about 30 minutes more. But I'll try to keep this very straight to the point, and I'll break it down for you very simply, so that way you understand what you need to do moving forward, right? So that's another thing that can happen. Let's say you have a good choice of music, but you also have loud volume, or the music is just so loud, right? Let's just say loud music, and of course, loud music is distracting. We can't hear you. We can't hear what is being said, what you're talking about, and so it's just distracting. So that comes back to this other thing again, and that comes back to bad branding again, and the whole other things along with all of these. So very easy on that part to fall into those pitfalls. Now let's go to the subjects. Now let's say, okay, fine, I'm seeing, maybe I have all of these under control. I have, or let's say in this terms of lighting, right? Let's say, okay, fine, I have good lights. I've invested in some good ring lights, or in some good aperture kind of lights. I have a good COB light or whatever, and I'm gonna light myself. It's gonna be very nice. I'm gonna have good lighting for myself. I can control it too. It's not harsh sun where we're seeing everything is just being blown out on my face. You can't really see details, and so okay, that's fine. Now, the problem with that is when you do not know what the placement of that light is, where to place that light or lights if you have, let's say, placements. Um, if you don't have or if you don't know the placements of these lights, right, or where to place them for a visually appealing video, you're gonna now fall into the pitfall of this, a flat looking video. Whole video is going to look very flat, especially even the subjects. Now the subject starts to now with this, you're even affecting the subjects too, right? So your video starts to look flat, it starts to look dull, everything is all dull and uninteresting. Um, and then we fall into the pitfall of what unprofessionalism, bad branding. Let's just say this would be it's unprofessional. It's unprofessional. Now, have we watched videos with bad lighting and we still like them? Yes, we watch a ton of them. Matter of fact, of course, as I said on social media, we see a lot of them with bad lighting. But let's say if you're talking about an actual brand, like a branded video, right? And you see bad lighting, yeah, you start to have some iffy feelings about this company or this video or this brand. I'm not sure why this video is looking so bad. It's because of the lighting. And oh, I even forgot to mention this is a technical thing that people don't mention with lighting. So if you do not know how to light your stuff properly, right, you also start to introduce this start to introduce noise into your footage, right? Especially if you're shooting at evening time or darker time or something like that. You start to introduce noise into your footage, and things start to get really, really ugly from there. I'm talking from a visual perspective, right? So that is what we want to avoid, right? We don't want to get into these problems of lighting and audio. But what about subjects? We have the subject, you, or the product, or the house, or whatever, right? Whatever your subject is. Now, okay, let's say, hey, I'm looking good. I put on some makeup, or my product is looking good. It's packaged properly, or my house is the house is looking good, it's clean, the lawn is taken care of, it's staged properly, it's looking very clean and very nice and minimal, right? But what are the easy pitfalls you can fall into in terms of subject, right? Now we start to fall into similar things of lighting, which is placement. If you do not know where to place your subject, well, let me say, oh, I'm just going to say placement because it's just one subject, let's say. If you do not know where to place your subject properly, it starts to look a little bit unprofessional. And I'll explain that right now, right? Starts to look unprofessional. this this handwriting, yo. Okay. And when I'm talking about placements, right? I'm talking about, let's say, if you know the basic rule of thirds, right? You know the rule of thirds. If you do not know where to place the subjects to make it more appealing or make it look professional, then it becomes uninteresting. It becomes very uninteresting, right? If you let's say if you have your subjects, let's say I'm gonna put this here right now. I'm gonna put this over here so I can explain this placement a little bit better. Let's say you're on a Zoom call or you're on a virtual call, or let's say you're just recording a video like this, right? And this is your video, and this is your, let's just say this is your rule of thirds here. I'm just draw this here. Actually, I should not use that. So let me see if there's any better option for using that. Uh, no, what about this? What about this? Okay, let's say nope, it's still the same. This? No. Okay, never mind. We're gonna use the highlighter. Let's say this is your picture frame, right? This is your rule of thirds, right? So this is your basic rule of thirds here. And now, where are you going to place a subject, or where are you going to place yourself? A lot of people do not know how to place themselves properly in the video, and they start to place themselves over here. Like your head is just over here. This is your head, right? That is a problem. That looks very unprofessional. There's a lot of headroom. There's a lot of space. It looks like a floating head just on the frame. So that is one problem there. Or let's say you place a subject. Some people place their subject over here, all the way in the corner, and we can't really see very well, but we're seeing the background. And but we're supposed to be focusing on your subject. We're supposed to be focusing on you, right? That is a problem. That looks unprofessional. Or let's say in terms of products too, as well, right? If you're shooting from, let's say, a top-down angle, you're trying to shoot your product from top-down angle, right? And you've just filled up the whole frame of your whole product, right? This is just me kind of scribbling on there. You filled up the whole frame. It's all big in there, but you've missed a lot of details that you also needed to show from your product too. You've also missed a lot of details. Now that becomes a problem. So these are easy pitfalls in terms of placement. When you start realizing that, okay, these things have importance in themselves, right? You start to look unprofessional. It becomes uninteresting. Let's also write that, uninteresting. And yeah, it's just not looking like a good video or a good quality video at the end of the day, right? That's what we want, a quality video. So you easily fall into these pitfalls with that. Now, as I said, the most important of them all is all three of them. They are all very important to make that quality video. Here's my other opinion too. Here's another thing that I'll say for you to focus on here is let's go here. Okay, nope. Let's go. I'm trying to find a good spot to place myself. Um, I guess this is a good spot. Okay, I'll just do this. So here is where I'll say, you know, um, you should start focusing on. Of course, focus on all three, and that is what I would recommend. Focus on all three of them. Make sure you understand the placement. You're placing your subject right. Make sure you're getting your lighting right. You understand how this lighting thing works: 3-point lighting, 2-point lighting, reverse key lighting on the lighting, whatever lighting that you want. All of them evokes different emotions, right? But you want to stick to the basics. Stick to the basics. And of course, good clear audio. You want to use a good clear audio for your video to make it a quality video. Now, another thing that I'll say, which is aside from that, aside from focusing on all three, maybe start, I'll say, prioritize one of them, which is the audio. In my opinion, you should prioritize audio, right? Audio is very, very important, regardless of what video it is. And make a you can easily make a video with good audio, and you can easily make a video with bad audio. And when you fall into the pitfall of bad audio, right, into one of these pitfalls or so, when you fall into that, no one is going to watch that video, and people are probably not going to come back because they're going to be thinking that, okay, the next video is probably going to sound like that last video that I watched, which was very terrible, and they're not going to come back again, right? Now, things like lighting, it can be forgiven. Like I said, a lot of us have watched a lot of videos that don't have